Hello, today I am going to be going over this template that you are being given, the Anatomy of a Research Study template. So you'll see this has various things that I want you to look for when you are reading articles. And if you do this enough, you'll be able to extract really this pertinent information, the most pertinent information about any study. You're going to be able to extract it in a short amount of time without reading the entire article. Very few times will we read the entire article from front to back. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to really just concentrate on this stuff in this particular video, the purpose and the research problem. Now, I break the research problem down into a real life issue because generally if we're doing research, there's something in real life that isn't right, something that needs exploration. And then there's also a literature or a research gap, something that hasn't been explored about this problem that the authors are saying is makes the study worthwhile. So let's look at purpose first. So before we do that, I guess I need to kind of break down the major parts of a study. So usually in an empirical study, you're going to have an abstract before they launch into the actual text. So this is the abstract. It's usually just one paragraph. And then here you start the text. Now, normally studies will start with some introductory or background information, basically a short literature review. So here they're talking about what is going on with studies, the 5 types of parent involvement. And you can see that goes up, that's 3 or 4 pages. And then they go to the method. Now, in the method, they're going to talk about what they actually did and with whom. So the method is going to explain all of that. It's just a page in this particular article. And then results. There's going to be usually a lot of text in results. If it's a statistical or a quantitative study, there's going to be statistical tests that they talk about, all that kind of stuff. And you can see this is a lot longer section. If you do not understand statistical measures and all that kind of stuff, then you can usually scan this, but kind of skip it because the discussion at the end goes over the main findings and talks about the significance of those findings. So you can really kind of concentrate on the discussion section for that. And basically that will conclude usually the article. Sometimes, as in here, you'll also have a section on implications. Now, conclusions and implications they're slightly different. Implications, particularly right here, will be for practice. What in our practice should be different as a result of what was found in this study? Sometimes there will also be implications for future research. So what are some more questions that come out of the research that could be studied in the future? And then this one also has a summary. Those 3 final sections are not going to be found in every single article, but you will have an introduction section and methodology, results, and discussion in every empirical research article that you find. Now, I apologize for scrolling. I know that can get disorienting. But what I want to do is look at how we find the purpose statement. Without really carefully reading everything, what you want to do is kind of scan and see if you see a sentence that literally starts with "the purpose of this study is." Sometimes that doesn't happen. So I'm just kind of looking, and usually it will, I'm going to scroll down because usually where you find the purpose is somewhere in the middle to the end of the literature review section. So I'm going to kind of look here. Here's the method, and just my scanning up to this point has not revealed any kind of purpose statement. So I'm looking just in this last couple of paragraphs. I can say here is something that is probably equivalent to a purpose statement. This study uses reports from teachers about the 5 types of involvement in school programs to further examine the typology. So this is a study with the purpose of examining the typology of parent involvement using reports from teachers. And you could actually copy paste this and put it into the purpose, and that would be fine. You always need to record the page number, by the way. This is from page 292 to do that. Now, when it comes to the research problem, a lot of times you'll see that toward the end as well. Earlier studies of parent involvement have focused on one level of schooling, either elementary, the middle grades, or high school level. The studies have not included comparisons across levels of schooling. This study compares school programs and teachers' practices of parent involvement in elementary and middle schools. So this is the research. This is the reason this research is unique. So the real life issue is that parent involvement has not been fully explored, and we know it's important. The literature gap would be something like very few studies or no studies have compared two different levels of schooling at once in terms of parent practices, and this one does. So that's what I would look at for the research problem and purpose. It's not an exact science. There are some ways in which people could say, hey, maybe up here there's something, let's see. Most parents need help to know how to be productively involved in their children's education at each grade level. School programs and teacher practices to organize family and school connections are equalizers to help families who would not become involved on their own. So maybe someone could say, hey, that's really the real life problem, that there are some parents that don't understand how to be involved, and schools can actually help them with that. And so that's why this research is really being done, because we need to know what to tell parents about different practices, parent involvement practices at different levels. And this research fills that gap because there hasn't been those comparisons. So I would accept that. I will accept anything that really makes sense and uses the words that come from the study in a compelling way. So I'm going to sign off here. We're going to cover the research questions and theoretical framework in the next video. Thanks.